Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and today I want to share with you all of my owned, unread historical fiction. All right, so I do not have a huge unread owned TBR. Actually, most of the books that I purchase after I've already read them in order to own them to lend out to other people or just to have as like memories of when I read the book. But I do have quite a few historical fiction books that I own that I have not read yet, so I thought I would share with you all of them today. For the purposes of this video, I am not including books that I have put on my Historathon TBR, just because we're in the middle of Historathon right now, and I don't know which of those I'm going to get to eventually and which ones I'm not. So if they were on my Historathon TBR, I will not put them on this list. Some of these I know what they're about. Some of them I have no clue what they're about anymore, so this may get interesting. But we're gonna get started. The first one that I have here is Lilac Girls by Martha Hall Kelly. This is about three women, I think, during World War II. I know it's World War II historical fiction. Other than that, I don't really know. It's New York socialite, Polish teenager, I don't know. So we'll see. I have heard really good things about this though, so I know that I want to get to that eventually. I'm not going to say that anymore. This whole video, I'm not going to say I want to get to it because obviously I own these for a reason. The next one I have here is What She Left Behind by Ellen Marie Wiseman. No clue at all what this one is about. It doesn't really even have a synopsis on the back, so that's fun. Oh wait, it has an inside cover. I don't really know. 10 years ago, Wesley's mother fatally shot. 1929. Italian immigrant. I don't know. I know Krista from Books and Jams, I think, has read this and recommended it, and that's why I picked it up. No idea what it's about. Moving on. I have Diane Chamberlain, The Secret Life of Cece Wilkes. This is set in the 1970s, and a pregnant girl disappears, and then 20 years later, her remains are discovered, and somebody's charged with murder, but there's no sign of the unborn child, and then like somebody knows the truth and they are figuring it out. So I got that one mostly because I read Necessary Lies by Diane Chamberlain, and it is one of my favorite books. I loved it so much, and so I wanted to pick up something else by her. Next here I have America's First Daughter by Stephanie Dray and Laura Camoy. This is about Patsy Jefferson, who was Thomas Jefferson's daughter. So yeah, that's all I really know about that one. I also have 1000 White Women, The Journals of May Dodd by Jim Fergus. And this follows May Dodd, who basically, she joined this group of white women that went out west in the 1800s, 1875. Okay, it says based on actual historical event, but told through fictional diaries. It's the story of a remarkable woman who travels west in 1875 and marries the chief of the Cheyenne Nation. So they sent these women out west to marry Native Americans to kind of bridge relations between them. So yeah, that sounded interesting. I have These As My Words, The Diary of Sarah Agnes Prine, 1881 to 1901 in the Arizona territories, and this is by Nancy E. Turner. This one I have heard it's told in diary format, and throughout the book I believe the main character starts like developing her English better, like her writing English, but other than that I really have no idea what this is about. So I own it though. The House at Tenifer is the next one I have, and this is by Natasha Solomons. This I've heard compared to like Downton Abbey. It's the spring of 1938, and it's no longer safe to be a Jew in Vienna. So 19-year-old Elise Landau is forced to leave her, her life basically, and she arrives to be a servant at the house at Tenifer. So that one sounded interesting. I have Those Who Save Us by Jenna Blum. This one, this was kind of a cover buy for me. It is about a Holocaust survivor, I believe, and her daughter then in the United States it's showing like her mom with a Nazi officer, maybe. I don't know. It has to do with basically a next generation finding out about something that happened during World War II. I know that. And the person lives in Minnesota. So that, I live in Minnesota. So that kind of sparked my interest also. I have a couple of Kate Morton books. The first one is The Lake House. This one is 1933. These people are throwing a big party, and then while they're at their party, their baby is stolen basically from his crib. And then 70 years later, somebody's looking into it. So I have that one. And then here in my other stack, I also have The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. And this one is 1913, and a girl is abandoned on a ship headed for Australia, and she arrives with nothing except a beautiful volume of fairy tales. She's taken in by the dockmaster, and then on her 21st birthday, they tell her the truth of where she came from. And maybe like she goes out looking for where she came from. I don't know. So I have that one. I also have The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. I've heard mixed reviews on this one, but I've got this out of a little free library, so I went ahead and nabbed it. And this is at a concentration camp. It is about the gentleman who was the tattooist at the concentration camp, or I guess probably at Auschwitz, duh. And he was the person that tattooed the numbers onto the prisoners, and maybe he meets somebody there, I'm thinking. I also have the Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. I picked this up because I was going to do a video where I reread required reading that I was supposed to read in high school and never did. I was supposed to read this for my AP English class my senior year of high school and wrote an essay on it, never actually read it. So my mom has said that she read it because I was supposed to read it, and then she got mad because I never actually read it. But this takes place in 1959 in the Congo. It is the story told by the wife and 4 daughters of Nathan Price, who was an evangelical Baptist who basically takes his family on mission in the Congo in 1959. So I have that one. I've heard good things about that, but haven't ever read it. I also have The Orphans Tale by Pam Jenoff. This girl gets pregnant during World War II, and she becomes pregnant by a Nazi soldier, and she's being forced to give up her baby, and so she basically joins a traveling circus, I think. So I have that one. I also have Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna. I think this is historical fiction, or part of it is historical fiction. It is about a woman whose daughters, like, they don't get along with their mom very well, and then their dad is dying, and like his dying wish is for their mom to tell her story, and I think her story has to do with World War II and the Russian side, like the Leningrad side of World War II, and so I have yet to read that. That was on my winter TBR, and I never got around to it, and I really, really want to read it, though. I also have Honolulu by Alan Brenner. This is by the same author of Molokai, which is on my Historathon TBR. Have not read it yet, though. We'll see if I actually get around to it. And this is set in Hawaii in 1914, and it is from the point of view of somebody who was a picture bride and brought to Hawaii basically as a mail order bride, and it's about her life. So now that one. I also have Victoria by Daisy Goodwin. This is written by the same person who wrote the TV show, the BBC or PBS masterpiece or whatever it was, broadcast of Victoria. It is about Queen Victoria and her life. So got that because I really like the show. I like learning about it. So I thought that would be a fun one to read. I also have Innocent Traitor by Alison Weir. This is about Lady Jane Grey, and she was born during the harrowing, turbulent period that will see the demise of her great uncle, her famous great uncle, King Henry VIII. And so she, I think, becomes queen. Maybe I don't remember. But anyway, set during that time frame though. Haven't read it yet. Obviously, it's on this list. Anyway, I have The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. This is set in the 1960s in the South. In South Carolina. That's all I know. And it's about I think some of the characters are beekeepers, but outside of that, I have no idea what it's about. I'm assuming since it's set in the 1960s, it's set in the South, has to do with like civil rights and that sort of thing. I have The Baker's Secret by Stephen P. Kiernan, and this is about this woman during World War II. She lives in Nazi-occupied France, and the baker in the town was Jewish and gets taken away, and so she was like the apprentice, so she takes over the bakery, and she's given extra wheat, I think, or extra flour each week to make extra bread for the Nazi soldiers, and she starts coming up with ways to stretch the bread so that she can make extra bread for her villagers or for other people in town. I think that's what this is about. Anyway, I know it's World War II historical fiction, though. I also have a YA here, Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wine. This is set in World War II, and it is about a spy plane, but I think it's women pilots. I'm pretty sure. It has to do with women that are pilots or girls that are pilots. But they're like, her spy plane goes down in Nazi-occupied France. I don't really know. Sounds good. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and it sounds good. So, and then the last one I have here is What the Night Sings by Vesper Stamper. And this is one that I have heard about from a couple of people. I didn't hear anything about it until after I already purchased it. But before she was taken away, Gerda played the viola every day. Before she was taken away, Gerda did not know she was Jewish. And then her world is completely changed. The Nazis destroyed everyone, and she has something about music, I think. I don't know, but it is illustrated. So I don't know. I've never really heard anything about this, but it looks fascinating. So I want to get to this one soon. I said I wasn't going to say that anymore. Whatever. Anyway, that's it. Those are all of the unread historical fiction books that I currently own. Like I said, I don't own a ton because I use my library a lot. So whenever I find stuff like at library sales or thrift stores that really jump out at me, I'll grab it. But other than that, I typically just go to my library and look there if I hear of something that I really want to read. So yeah. Have you read any of these? Do you think I should start prioritizing any of these to get to right away? I'd love to hear your opinions. Other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya!